Welcome to episode 4 of Alaska Adventures Afloat, featuring Thom's epic solo journey from King Cove to Seward, Alaska, aboard Baloo, our 32-foot sloop sailboat. Thom has officially sailed past the halfway point. So here's the dread pirate Giles, Captain Thom, with a live update as he sails out of Larson Bay.
Hey everybody, here's an update from the Baloo. Turns out it's a pretty great little boat. Had a few hiccups here and there, and working my way back to Seward. Left King Cove and had a fairly uneventful trip out. Got a real good idea of how big the place is when I almost turned up into the bay instead of going straight across it. After that, I crossed over a bar that was fairly shallow, and that's right when the depth sounder stopped working. So that was entertaining. Later, I talked to a fisherman who saw me dousing the sail and wondering what in the heck I was doing over there. And I told him my depth sounder quit working, and the chart said it was 3 feet deep. I draw 4, and he started laughing. He said, "Yeah, we thought you were having some trouble." Anyhow, that was funny. Ended up going anchoring over in I think it was Bear Bay, something like that, and then motored over to downwind motor sailed to Sand Point the following day. That was a long haul. Sand Point's a rowdy town, a lot of good guys there, pretty fun. There's even a fist fight on the dock the first night I was there. And so it's everything you'd think a fishing town would be. If you get in trouble there, you deserve to get in trouble. That's how much fun that place is. Did a few repairs. Got a hold of a mechanic. Came over and pretty much volunteered his time for beer and cigarettes. And we worked for 2 days on the engine. We did get the motor running, and that was great. So thanks, Dad. We got that motor running, and got on the way out of Sand Point, headed towards Chicknick. Went to Chicknick, and that was pretty awesome. Nice little town there.
How has the scenery been, and have you seen any wildlife?
Holy cow, scenery! This is probably the best part of the trip is how big it is out here. It's so big. Just when you think, oh, I'll just go right over there to that point, it takes you 5.5 hours to get there. Just enormous. You think that anytime you start looking at a chart and thinking about where you're going, you have to reference how many miles is that? Because it looks like it's just right around the next corner, but that's 36 miles later. It's beautiful green, the most vibrant, brilliant green, and then surrounded by just jagged, rough, chaotic rocks right on the coast. Not many beaches, and the ones that are there have a lot of big rocks in front, or they're there because that's where the wind and the waves crash up and pound the sand, pound those rocks into little rocks. Haven't seen much for bears. Zero bears, just a lot of bear prints. So that was cool.
Have you seen any whales or porpoise?
It's funny you mention that, because just today I saw some porpoise. First time the Dulles porpoise have paid a visit. They were doing their normal show. They put on a real good show on the bow and all around the stern where I was sitting. And they're just hopping and bopping. Probably, I want to say probably 6 of them or so. And that was fun. I've seen a huge humpback whale surfacing 2 days ago. And he's probably no more than 50 yards off the side of the boat when it surfaced and gave me a huge tail shot, just enormous. And then a huge array of, over by David Island, the sun was shining and there was 6 or 7 small puffs of blowholes happening where they were blowing, and it was probably a pod of orcas making their way, doing something. There's one off in the distance, and then the 4 to 6. It was really neat. And the sun hit the spray just enough to where it just illuminated them, so it looked just super bright. Yeah, that's about it for wildlife. I had a big sailing adventure. Went out yesterday, and I was within 5 miles of where I was going to anchor up, and the wind started blowing, and I had put the sails up. It started blowing and blowing, and it didn't stop until it finally stabilized. I think it had to be at least 25, and that's being on the low side. And the boat was heeled over. It was blowing so hard I couldn't take the sails down. And I ended up going Kodiak. And so I was within 5 miles of where I wanted to stay the night. Raised the sails. That was a mistake. The wind that wasn't supposed to be there that day just increased, and it stayed with me all the way till about 7 o'clock. It was 2 o'clock till 7. And I just ripped right across the strait and almost missed Kodiak. Luckily, I did manage to end up in Halibut Cove or Halibut Bay. But that's pretty much the last spot that I could have got an anchorage on this side of the side of Kodiak. So that was a lot of fun, really exhilarating. Boy, I was wound up pretty good from that. I put the anchor down. I ran from that one, ducking for cover, and just as soon as I had the sails tied off, everything went flat calm. And so we went from 6 to 8 footers average, quite a few 12-footers in there, and to flat calm in a matter of 30 minutes. So anyhow, that was enough for me for that day. And so now I'm heading over to Onion Bay.
Thanks for the awesome update, Thom. Why don't you sign us off with a piece of wisdom from Dread Pirate Giles?
If you're going to ask for wind, be prepared for wind, because sometimes it just gives it to you.
Follow Thom's progress via the Spot tracking map and watch for new episodes on our YouTube page, Alaska Adventures Afloat. Till the next episode, we'd like to wish everyone safe harbors and beautiful horizons.